Pepper spray is an often misunderstood self-defense tool, but it's something that I'm a big fan of. I've carried it on and off since I was a teenager, and I've actually been pepper sprayed twice as part of trainings over the years. This stuff is potent, but it fills a very specific niche for self-defense. In this video, I want to talk about my favorite brand of pepper spray, POM, and try to give you some rationale as to why I really like it and why I'd recommend carrying it. I got training on this back in 2023 while at NPE Counter Robbery, which was taught by Daryl Bolke, Chuck Haggard, and Cecil Birch, and that kind of opened up my eyes, no pun intended there, about the good qualities of good pepper spray. POM's the brand that I've carried since then, and I actually stock quite a few cans of it for my personal supply to give to folks that have interest in carrying pepper spray. POM is relatively inexpensive, and they also offer inert cans for going out and getting practice with them. These just fire compressed water. I like these qualities together to make it a great tool to teach someone the ability to use pepper spray for self-defense. It's great for folks that maybe can't carry a firearm everywhere, or generally speaking, I carry a gun but I still carry this. This gives me a non-lethal option for self-defense. When it comes to free things on the channel, I don't accept freebies from companies. The only stipulation that I'll ever allow a company to send me something is if I can give it away when I'm done, or if it's a loaner thing that I can give back to the company. Well, POM actually reached out back over the spring and asked if I wanted to test a couple of cans of pepper spray. I'm guessing that they weren't familiar with the fact that I already talked about their pepper spray in a couple of videos and a couple of articles. But I said, hey, full disclosure, I don't take freebies, but I will accept some cans of pepper spray if you're okay with me giving them away. So they sent me a few cans of their pepper spray here and some inert testers to give away as part of my coverage of POM pepper spray. I'll be doing one giveaway through my personal Discord and then one through the PrimerPeak Discord, so stick around to the end of the video to see the details on that. I have these two sealed cans with the inert testers, but full disclosure, they sent me another can that is their new Mark III, like law enforcement grade stuff. It's the same formulation of pepper spray, but it shoots a longer distance and it's a bigger can. I would give this away, but they didn't give me an inert tester, and I don't want to give you something that you can't go practice with. But also the packaging for it, I think this was new enough that they don't actually have retail packaging. I don't want to send somebody pepper spray that came in a non-sealed box. These are nice and I know people hate this packaging because it sucks to get to, but they're fully sealed. You know it's not been tampered with. Even though I'm trustworthy, I don't want to send out a can of pepper spray that hypothetically could have been used already, so let's not do that. But I wanted to get it out of the way because this channel is entirely run on transparency. So let's get into the details as to why I like pepper spray and why I carry it. So why carry pepper spray? This is going to be its own video in the future, but I want to give you a little bit of an understanding as to why I recommend pepper spray, even if you're already carrying a firearm. The long and the short is that pepper spray gives us a non-lethal, violent option for self-defense. As Chuck Haggard says, this is the middle ground between a harsh word and a gun. Of course, we have our brain to try to avoid possible violent situations, we have our feet to get away, and we have our voice to tell people to get away from us or to try to diffuse a situation. Pepper spray allows us to move up the force escalation continuum before getting to a firearm. Pepper spray is generally legal in all 50 of the United States. However, there are some states that have restrictions on certain amounts of the OC compound or formulation in there. That's something that you should look up before you start carrying pepper spray. But generally speaking, pepper spray is more permissible in large parts of the country than a firearm would be. Now obviously, pepper spray is not a replacement for a firearm. However, there is a place for it to be carried in self-defense. And again, I think that'll be its own video in the future here. What are the specific qualities of POM that have made it my favorite pepper spray? There are a lot of qualities to POM that make it my favorite pepper spray. I'm likely to miss something here, so I would recommend checking out my article for PrimerPeak.com, which should be going live next month, which will be linked down in the description. If you're an early viewer, you probably won't see it here, but it'll be out fairly soon. So why do I like POM? Well, the big thing with POM is that they really understand what makes a good pepper spray. From the design of the body itself, to the fact that they do a stream rather than a spray or a mist, and then the formulation of the OC blend. So the blend that they use here for the actual spicy pepper spray is more scientifically thought out than a lot of the other brands, and it's also generally a little bit more potent than the other brands. I'll throw up the numbers here on the screen, but it's generally pretty potent stuff. Full disclosure, I have not been pepper sprayed with this, but I've spoken to people who have, and they talk about how painful it is because it's both very potent, but also, since it comes out as a stream and not a mist or a spray, it tends to hit with a little bit more authority and cause more of the negative effects of pepper spray. Talking about that stream for your delivery, rather than coming up here, flipping the top, pushing down the button and getting a mist or a gel or something, we get a stream almost like shooting water out of a hose. You get about 12 feet of maximum distance with this, and of course factors like wind or movement could cause that to be a little bit shorter distance, but it's very easy to aim, you're less likely to hit yourself with it, and I find that it does buck the wind a little bit better. Now obviously, weather conditions are kind of like the natural enemy of pepper spray, but the POM does pretty good with that, and I'll be rolling in some footage here to talk about that in a bit. Talking the design of these cans of pepper spray, I really do like how simple it is and how well thought out it is. At the core of it, we have the top part here that houses our safety and then our deployment firing button here. We also have a little ledge here that helps to protect your fingers while you're actively using it. We have the nozzle bit here, and then if I pull the bottom off, we have the can itself hidden by this housing, and then we have the bottom housing. Moving back up to the top, I really do like the simple safety design that we have here. We have to push up to flip the top up and then pull down to hit the trigger, or a button really. The button requires some force to actually use, which is nice because it means you're less likely to have a negligent discharge of your pepper spray. If you've never been around that, I can cite an instance in which my editor, Dan, pepper sprayed his downstairs while jogging once because it inadvertently hit the button on the can he was using. Not a pleasant experience, I wouldn't recommend it, but this makes it more secure. Having the ledge here to help prevent your fingers from getting pepper sprayed is nice too, because it's less about causing yourself discomfort and more the fact that if you're blocking the nozzle, you're not going to be hitting the thing you're trying to pepper spray. So I like that we have that kind of built-in indexing point here. Another benefit of this flip top is that we can use it like a front sight on a pistol to aim our pepper spray when we're hitting the spray there. Moving down the can, I do like that the can here has this design. It is permanently fixed into the top, so this is, let me pull the ring off here. It's permanently fixed in the top here, but that's nice because that means that when it's time to replace your can, you just replace this. POM always gives you another bottom part here and the little color identifying ring when you buy a can of these, but it's nice to know that if you really like these, you can keep these and just toss out the cans. One benefit to having the can the way it is that these are marked with expiration dates on the bottom. So we can see here, it's kind of hard to see it, but we have 12/28, so December of 2028, and this inert can is good until November of 2028. These do have an expiration date, and we do want to be mindful of that, but it's nice that they actually do label it right on there. You don't have to hold on to the packaging that came with this when you're buying it. Talking about the bottom part here, this is where we have this segment here where we have different attachment points to carry the pepper spray. POM sells 3 different variants of this pepper spray. One that has the clip here, which is my preferred method. We have the one that comes with a key ring, like a proper slip key ring, and the one that comes with like a plastic carabiner piece. Full disclosure, I don't really know why POM does the carabiner one and the one that comes with a split ring because they kind of fulfill the same need. They both attach to the same style of breakaway, so when you pull on it, it comes off and you can have the pepper spray. So I don't know why they do the 2 different types there, but I'm sure that there's a reason for it. All in all, I do really like that design because it just keeps it really, really simple. Now, talking about these inert cans, I've mentioned it multiple times, but pepper spray is pretty easy to use, but if you've never actually practiced with it, you're not going to be that great with it. And this goes to anything that's relatively simple, right? There are plenty of things that we do every day that are easy to do, but if you don't get that practice in, you're still going to be bad with it. The inert pepper spray cans that they sell for $5 or $6 a can, certainly worth the investment. I would generally say that for every can of POM that you have, buy 2 cans as testers, 2 inert cans as testers, so you can go out and get your practice. And I will say this too, POM does a lot of sales where they just give out the inert cans as like freebies when you buy 1 or 2 cans of the pepper spray. It doesn't hurt to have quite a few of these in your stock there. Let's roll in some footage to show the distance that this stuff can really go, even in outdoor conditions. We're just going to come up here, come out with our pepper spray, and start spraying. So I had to correct there a little bit, but this is pretty easy to use. There is a slight breeze here which will impact things, but since the POM here is a more of a stream rather than a mist, it works pretty good. So this is going to sound pretty goofy, but let's check the target. Yep, it's wet. I started off over here. I had to adjust over. Come up here and spray. And the wind is starting to catch it right at the end there. So that 12 feet that they advertise is pretty correct. So again, we'll come up here. Yeah, and I can see, and it's not going to show up the best on camera, we've hit the glasses plenty, we've hit above, so imagine the eyebrow, and then we've hit some of the chest. This would not do anything. Like, yes, it would be disorienting, but it wouldn't be the same thing as catching it in the eyes. My recommendation is that if you have to use this stuff, aim for the eyebrows, because it'll hit that and then drape down into the eyes. Works pretty good. The weather conditions were pretty poor on that day for using pepper spray outside, but I think the POM still fared pretty well. Let's get on to the next section. I wanted to take a quick break to thank you, the viewers and subscribers of the channel. Without your support, it would be much harder to make these videos. If you did want to financially support the channel as part of video production, check out our channel memberships and the Patreon for the YouTube channel too. Any sort of funds that come in through those two spots go right back into making these videos. We also have a Discord server that anyone can join, linked in the description down below. Let's check out EDC with the POM pepper spray. I'm a firm believer that everyday carry means that you're actually carrying the stuff every single day. When it comes to the POM pepper spray, this is one of the simplest things to carry. It doesn't weigh very much, it's not very big, and it's very secure with that flip-top safety. I prefer the pocket clip, but I know some folks prefer to have their pepper spray on the keychain. Either way, this is really simple stuff to carry. I've had it on me for pretty much every time I've left my house over the last 2.5 years, with the only exceptions being when I'm flying and I'm prohibited to carry the stuff into airports. Now obviously, check the laws before you do it, but generally speaking, you can fly with pepper spray if you pack it into your checked luggage. Now obviously, every single airline is going to be a little bit different, and the TSA rules are obviously liable to change. But the last couple times I flew, it was actually very simple to fly with pepper spray. When it comes to road trips and events, I've pretty much always got my POM on me. I've been to half a dozen weddings since I started carrying POM. It's been there just fine. And heck, I even had this on me during my car accident last year. The POM didn't deploy on my person, but every airbag in my car went off. Now, the hardest thing about carrying pepper spray for your EDC is figuring out the best way to actually draw and use it. I'm going to show you the method that I use, and I'll also show you a way to integrate the OC spray into your firearm practice. So what's the fastest draw stroke for pepper spray? Simply put, they're all really slow. The technique I'm going to show you is one that I learned at NPE Counter Robbery, and it's really simple. If you want a fast draw stroke with your pepper spray, already have it in your hands. This is the thing that I do when I'm going places where I think I might need pepper spray, is to remove it from my pocket and put it in my hand. Once I get to my destination, I can hide my pepper spray in my hand and tuck it back into my pocket pretty easily. We think about transitional spaces as places where crime happens. Crime doesn't just happen on the street or inside of a store. Generally speaking, when people are trying to hurt you or do stuff, it's going to happen in the transitional spaces where life happens. Gas stations, parking lots, sidewalks, parking garages, stairwells. If we're going to one of those and we think we might need the pepper spray, the fastest draw is just going to be to already have it in your hand. Now, how do we integrate pepper spray into our firearms practice? Let's get to that. I integrate my POM into my shooting practice pretty simply. All I do is take a shooting drill or exercise that begins with drawing the gun and start with the POM in my primary hand. I then put my support hand up in a defensive fencing position. From there, I perform the drill or exercise. Here, I am doing a simple draw and fire 3 rounds. This lets me work the OC into my shooting practice, and you can certainly use it for dry fire too. POM pepper spray is easily the highest quality pepper spray that I've encountered so far. From the formulation of their OC, to the fact that they use a stream for delivery rather than a mist or a spray, to the form factor and design of the cans, I think it's just really, really well done. I would easily recommend POM pepper spray, and I've personally bought like 15 or 16 cans of the stuff just to give to folks over the last couple of years. If you do decide to pick up POM pepper spray, make sure you buy a couple of the inert cans so you can practice to see how that stream comes out of the can, because that would certainly be helpful in the case that you needed to use the pepper spray. I would also recommend that you look into your local laws from wherever you live so you can see how the pepper spray laws are. Some states that are restrictive for guns are also pretty restrictive for pepper spray, so look into it. Now, for the details of the giveaway for POM pepper spray here, you'll have to join the Discord server that I have linked down below, as the giveaway will be happening in the Discord server. I want to thank everyone who's been along for the ride here in this video, and thank you very, very much for watching.